How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm of course going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances that went on to take place on Tuesday, May 24th, and of course I'm going to preview everything that's going on today in the calendar year. Taking a step back, as we are now in the NFL offseason, the NBA is down to 4 teams left in the conference final round, as the Golden State Warriors have the Mavericks up against the ropes. Only one team is facing elimination at this point. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, there are still 7 teams that are left competing, as only the Tampa Bay Lightning have advanced to the conference final round, but a lot of other series are nearing their end, as right now the St. Louis Blues and the Edmonton Oilers are facing elimination. Taking a look at what's going on with baseball, of course, we are in the second month of the MLB season, and in terms of soccer, the Champions League final is scheduled for this weekend, so we have a lot going on today. With that said, starting off with the Western Conference Finals, yesterday was Game 4. It was held in Dallas, as the Golden State Warriors entered this matchup with a 3-0 series lead. The Warriors won Game 1 by 25 and Game 2 by 9, and both of those games were in San Francisco. They will go on to beat the Mavericks by 9 in the first game. But looking at how Game 4 would fare for both these teams, the Dallas Mavericks would go on to win Game 4, as they would win their first matchup of the series. They won it 119-109. They won it by 10 points. After they outscored the Warriors by 11 in the second quarter and by 14 in the third, they outscored them by 25 in the middle 2 quarters. On the losing end of this matchup, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard Stephen Curry out of Davidson. He finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists as well in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he shot 4 for 5 from the foul line. Their power forward off the bench, Jonathan Kuminga, finished with 17 points and 8 rebounds in 22 minutes. Their shooting guard off the bench, Jordan Poole, finished with 14 points in 29 minutes. Their all-star starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, finished with 13 points and 5 rebounds in 31 minutes. He shot 5 for 11 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and he made both of his free throws on the night. Their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson, finished with 12 points and 2 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3 as well. Their all-star starting power forward, Draymond Green, finished with 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks in 26 minutes. He shot 4 for 8 from the field. And then their shooting guard off the bench, Moses Moody, finished with 10 points and 2 steals in 23 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 4-seed Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. Doncic finished with 30 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 10 for 26 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and 7 for 10 from the foul line. Their starting power forward, Dorian Finney-Smith, finished with 23 points and 6 rebounds in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Reggie Bullock, finished with 18 points in 38 minutes. Their starting point guard, Jalen Brunson, finished with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 34 minutes. Their power forward off the bench, Maxi Kleber, had 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 22 minutes as he nearly fouled out. And then their point guard off the bench, Spencer Dinwiddie, finished with 10 points and 8 assists in 28 minutes. With this win, the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks are now trailing the Warriors 3-1 in the series. They have to win their next 3 games in this series if they want to make it to the NBA Finals. And with this loss, the Warriors still lead the series 3-1. They have to win any of the next 3 games if they want to make it to the Western Conference Finals or to the NBA Finals, as even with this win, the Dallas Mavericks are still facing elimination, but they are, of course, still alive in this playoffs. Taking a look at what's going on today, today is going to be Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, as the 1-seed Miami Heat are set to host the 2-seed Boston Celtics. Right now, this series is currently tied at 2 after the Celtics beat the Heat by 20 in Boston. It is now a best-of-3 series, as whoever wins 2 of the next 3 games will advance to the NBA Finals to face off against either the Warriors or the Mavericks. With that said, taking a look at what's going on in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, starting off in Madison Square Garden, the New York Rangers, the 2-seed in the Metropolitan Division, will go on to host the 1-seed Carolina Hurricanes. And in this matchup, the Rangers would end up beating the Hurricanes 4-1 to even the series up at 2. After the Hurricanes won the very first 2 games of the series in Raleigh, the Rangers would go on to win games 3 and 4 in New York. In this matchup, they would go on to score the first 3 goals of this matchup as Carolina scored their lone goal in the third period. The top star of this game went to Andrew Kopp. New York's center would finish with a goal and 2 assists. The second star went to the Rangers defender Ryan Lindgren as he had 2 assists. Third star of the game went to Frank Vetrano, New York center, as he had a goal and an assist for himself. With this win, the series is now tied at 2. And of course, whoever wins 2 of the next 3 games will get a chance to advance to the Eastern Conference Final. The winner of this matchup will face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning after the Lightning had already swept the Florida Panthers. And then taking a look at the second playoff game that took place yesterday, as it would take place in Edmonton as the 2 seed in the Pacific Division. Oilers hosted the 1 seed Calgary Flames. In this matchup, or I guess going in, Edmonton held a 2-1 lead. This was after they were able to win Game 3 after the Flames won Game 1, the Oilers won Game 2, 3, and 4. Game 4 they would win it 5-3. This was after the Oilers scored the first 3 goals of the game. Calgary would score 3 unanswered to tie it up, and then Edmonton would score 2 more goals to, of course, to finish the game and put the cherry on top. On the winning end of this matchup, the top star went to Edmonton center Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Second star of the game went to Edmonton's left winger Zach Hyman as he finished with a goal. And then the third star of the game went to Calgary center Elias Lindholm as he would finish with a goal himself. He was the one who would score the first goal for Calgary in their comeback. With this series lead, Edmonton now leads 3-1. With one more win in the next 3 games, the Edmonton Oilers will advance to the Western Conference Finals to face off against either the Colorado Avalanche or the St. Louis Blues. With this loss, the Calgary Flames have to win games 5, 6, and 7 if they want to advance to the next round. So that is what's going on in the NHL, at least from yesterday. Taking a look at what's going on today. Today should be Game 5 of the Central Divisional Final as the Colorado Avalanche host the St. Louis Blues. The Avalanche finished with the best record, and the St. Louis Blues are here after they would go on to beat the 2-seed Minnesota Wild in the previous round. But that is, of course, what is going on in the NHL. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, starting off in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies would end up taking the lead in the 10th inning and winning the game off of a Connor Joe RBI single to beat the Pirates 2-1, like I just said. On the losing end of this matchup, the Pittsburgh Pirates would be led out by their starting pitcher, Roansy Contreras. Contreras would allow no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. The loss would end up going to the Pirates' closer for the day, David Bednar. He would allow 1 run off of 1 hit in the 10th inning as he struck out a batter. With this loss, Bednar is 1-1. In the Pirates batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to great pitching from the Rockies. The Rockies were led out by their starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. Freeland allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in 4.1 innings pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. The win for the Rockies would go to their closer, Daniel Bard. He allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th and 10th innings as he struck out 3 batters over those 2 innings and walked 1. With this win, he's now 2-2. In the Rockies batting lineup, their shortstop Jose Iglesias would end up going 2-for-4. And with this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 20-22. That is the worst record in the National League West. They have now won 4 of their last 10, and they are now sitting 9 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 17-25. That is the 4th best record in the NL Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are now sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in Cincinnati, the Reds hosted the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs would go on to beat the Reds 11-4 as the Reds would try to put up a fight in the first inning, but the Cubs just would not let the Reds take the lead in this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Reds were led out by their starting pitcher, Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle would allow 8 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 4 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 3. With his loss, he's 2-5. In the Reds batting lineup, their right fielder Tyler Naquin went 3-for-5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 5th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the Chicago Cubs were led out by their starting pitcher Marcus Stroman. Stroman would go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would go on to strike out 8 batters, and then he would walk 2. With this win, Marcus Stroman is now 2-4, and then the save would end up going to the Cubs closer in this game, Robert Selman. Selman would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the last 3 innings of the game. He struck out a batter and walked 1 as he picked up his first save of the year. In the Cubs batting lineup, their center fielder, Rafael Ortega, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. Their designated hitter, Frank Schwindel, went 3-for-5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his 5th and 6th home runs of the season yesterday. Their third baseman, Patrick Wisdom, went 2-for-5 with 2 runs. The Cubs' first baseman, Alfonso Rivas, would end up going 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his first triple of the season. The Cubs catcher in this matchup, P.J. Higgins, would go 2-for-4 with 2 runs. And then the Cubs shortstop, Andrelton Simmons, would go 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Chicago Cubs are 18-24. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central as they've now won their last 3 games. Their three-game winning streak actually is the longest active winning streak in the National League at this moment. Only the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins have longer winning streaks than the Chicago Cubs right now. The Cubs have won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 12-30. They are the first team to cross the 30 loss. They and the Nats are the first 2 teams to cross the 30 loss threshold yesterday. They are holding the worst record in the National League and in the majors. They're the only team who's won less than 30% of their games. They've now lost 6 of their last 10 as they've lost their last 2 games. They sit 14.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in Tampa Bay, the Rays hosted the Marlins, and they would shut the Marlins out 4-0. On the losing end of this matchup, the Marlins would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Pablo Lopez. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters, and with this loss, he's now 4-2. In the Marlins batting lineup, their designated hitter, Garrett Cooper, went 2-for-4, and then their catcher, Jacob Stallings, would end up going 2-for-2. And on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Tampa Bay Rays would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Shane McClanahan. McClanahan would allow no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 9 batters and walked 2. With this win, the Rays are now 4-2. In the Rays batting lineup, their center fielder Kevin Kiermaier went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 6th home run of the season. Their first baseman Ji-Man Choi went 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their designated hitter Harold Ramirez went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher Mike Zunino went 2-for-3. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 25-17. That is the 2nd best record in the American League East. They've now won 6 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 4.5 games behind the division-leading Yankees. And with this loss, the Miami Marlins are 18-23. That is the 4th best record in the National League East as they've now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 9 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in our nation's capital, in Washington, D.C., the Nationals hosted the L.A. Dodgers. The Dodgers would end up beating the Nats 9-4. And in this matchup, the Nats did hold a 3-2 lead as the Dodgers took the lead right back in the 2nd inning off of a 3-run home run from Mookie Betts. And, of course, Mookie Betts would home run yet again. They would run away and win this game 9-4. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Nats would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Josiah Gray. He would allow 7 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 3 innings he pitched as he struck out 5 and walked 3. With this loss, Josiah Gray is 4-4. In the Nats batting lineup, their catcher, Keibert Ruiz, went 2-for-5 with a run. Their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, would end up going 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their shortstop, D. Strange Gordon, would go 3-for-4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the win went to the Dodgers' elite starting pitcher, Walker Buehler. He allowed 3 runs off of 6 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 3 and walked 2. With this win, he's 6-1. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts would end up going 3-for-4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 11th and 12th home runs of the season. The Dodgers designated hitter Edwin Rios would end up going 2-for-5. Their center fielder Chris Taylor went 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 4th home run of the season. The Dodgers elite shortstop Trey Turner went 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the LA Dodgers are now 29-13. That is the best record in the National League West. Win percentage wise, it is the best record in the National League as a whole. Only the Yankees have a better record. The Dodgers have won their last 2 games. They have now won 9 of their last 10. They are sitting a game and a half ahead of the second place San Diego Padres in the division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 14-30. That is the worst record in the NL East, and they are tied with the Reds for the most losses in baseball. They are the first teams to cross the 30-loss threshold. The Nats have lost their last 2 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are now sitting 14 and a half games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Baltimore Orioles, and the Yankees were able to beat the Orioles 7-6. Going into extras, it was tied at 5. The Orioles would take the lead in the top of the 11th off of a ground out from Austin Hayes. The Yankees would go on to tie it up off of a RBI single from Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and they would win it off of a RBI single from Jose Trevino to walk off the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles saw the start go to Bruce Zimmerman. Bruce Zimmerman would allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 6.1 innings he pitched as he struck out 5. The loss would end up going to the Orioles closer for the day, Brian Baker. Baker allowed 2 runs off of 3 hits as he would only get 1 out in the 11th inning. Picked up his first blown save of the season, and with this loss, Baker is 1-2. In the Orioles batting lineup, their first baseman Ryan Mountcastle was the only player who had more than 1 hit. He would go 2 for 5 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees would see the start go to Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 5. The win went to the Yankees closer for the day, Clark Schmidt. Schmidt allowed 1 run as he did not allow a single hit. He would strike out a batter as well in the 10th and 11th innings. With this win, Schmidt is 3-2. In the Yankees batting lineup, their center fielder Aaron Hicks went 2 for 5. Their elite second baseman Gleyber Torres went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He had his 6th and 7th home runs of the year. Their shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. And then their catcher in this matchup, Jose Trevino, will go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. Trevino hit his 2nd home run of the season. And then going back, I guess with this win, the New York Yankees are now officially 7-6. Or they are now 30-13, I'm sorry. That is the best record in the American League East. That is the best record in all of baseball right now, as they have now won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 4.5 games ahead of the second place Tampa Bay Rays in their division. With this loss, the Orioles are 18-26. That is the worst record in the American League East, as they've now lost 6 of their last 10. They are trailing the division-leading New York Yankees by 12.5 games. Taking a look at what happened in Atlanta, the defending World Series champs hosted the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies would end up losing to the Braves as the Phillies took a 2-run lead in the 9th off of a 2-run home run from Bryce Harper. The Braves would tie it up in the bottom of the 9th off of a sac fly from Ronald Acuna Jr., and then it would be William Contreras' RBI single to walk off and win the game for the Braves. On the losing end of this matchup, the Phillies would pick up the start went to Kyle Gibson. Gibson allowed 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters and walked 1. The loss went to the Phillies closer, Nick Nelson. Nelson allowed 2 runs off of 3 hits in the 8th inning as he struck out 2. As in the Phillies batting lineup, their elite designated hitter Bryce Harper went 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run. The reigning National League MVP hit his 10th home run of the season yesterday. He was the only Philly with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Atlanta Braves saw the start go to Max Fried. Fried allowed 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. The win went to the Braves closer for the day, Kenley Jansen, as he would allow 2 earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning. He would go on to walk a batter. He picked up his 2nd blown save of the season, but with this win, he's now 3-0. In the Braves batting lineup, their elite right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies went 3 for 3 with 2 runs. Their third baseman Austin Riley went 2 for 4. Their shortstop Dansby Swanson went 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 20-23. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the second best record in the West. They've won 5 of their last 10 as the Phillies have lost 6 of their last 10. They both sit 8 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Detroit Tigers. The Twins would shut the Tigers out 2-0, scoring both of their runs in the second and third innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the Tigers would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Bo Briesky. Bo Briesky would go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Briesky is 0-4. In the Tigers batting lineup, their second baseman, Jonathan Scope, went 2 for 4, and their future Hall of Famer designated hitter, Miguel Cabrera, went 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Minnesota Twins saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Sonny Gray. Gray allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He struck out 10 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's now 2-1, as the save went to the Twins' closer for the day, Joan Duran. Duran would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning, as he picked up his 4th save of the year. In the Twins' batting lineup, their second baseman, Luis Arraez, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman, Gio Urshela, went 3 for 4 with an RBI. And then their first baseman, Jose Miranda, will go 2 for 3. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 27-16. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 6 games. They are tied with the Boston Red Sox for the longest active winning streak in baseball. The Twins have won 8 of their last 10 games, as they sit 5.5 games ahead of the second-place Chicago White Sox in the AL Central. With this loss, the Tigers are 14-28. They are tied with the Kansas City Royals for the worst record in the AL Central and the worst record in the American League. At this moment, only the Nationals and the Reds have worse records than the Tigers. The Tigers have now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 12.5 games behind the division-leading Twins. Taking a look at what happened in St. Louis, the Cardinals hosted the Blue Jays, and in this battle of the birds, the Blue Jays would end up beating the Cardinals 8-1. In this particular matchup, they would go on to score all 8 of their runs before the Cardinals scored their lone run in the bottom of the 7th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Cardinals saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Jordan Hicks. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 3 innings he pitched, as he struck out 3 and walked 5. With this loss, he's now 1-4. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 2 for 3. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Kevin Gausman. Gausman allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched, as he struck out 8 batters and walked 2. With this win, he's now 4-3. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 8th home run of the season. Their elite shortstop, Bo Bichette, went 2 for 5. Their designated hitter, Alejandro Kirk, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. Their catcher, Danny Jansen, went 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 4th and 5th home runs of the season. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 23-20. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East, as they've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 7 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are 24-19. That is the 2nd best record in the NL Central, as they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are now sitting 3 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in Houston, the Astros hosted the Cleveland Guardians. The Astros would end up beating the Guardians 7-3, as all 7 of their runs were between the 3rd and 5th innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cleveland Guardians would go on to see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Zach Plesac. Plesac allowed 7 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 1. With this loss, Zach Plesac is 1-4. In the Guardians batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 10th double of the season and his 11th home run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Astros saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Framber Valdez. Valdez allowed 3 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 7 innings he pitched, as he struck out 4. With this win, Valdez is now 4-2. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. And then their shortstop in this matchup, Jeremy Pena, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 28-16. That is the best record in the American League West, as they've now won 6 of their last 10. They are now sitting a game ahead of the second-place Los Angeles Angels within their own division. With this loss, the Guardians are now 18-21. That is the 3rd best record in the AL Central, as they've now lost 7 of their last 10. They now sit 7 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins in their just at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Chicago, the White Sox hosted the Red Sox, one of the hottest teams in baseball. The Red Sox would end up beating the White Sox 16-3. They scored all 16 of their runs in the first 5 innings of this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the White Sox would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Dylan Cease. Cease allowed 7 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 3 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 2, and with this loss, Cease is 4-2. In the White Sox batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Tim Anderson, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Their elite first baseman and former American League MVP, Jose Abreu, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the year. Their right fielder in this matchup, Andrew Vaughn, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Boston Red Sox would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Nick Pivetta. Pivetta allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. With this win, Pivetta is 3-4. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their center fielder, Kike Hernandez, went 2 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. Their elite third baseman, Rafael Devers, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 10th home run of the season. Their elite designated hitter, JD Martinez, went 4 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their elite second baseman, Trevor Story, would end up going 2 for 6 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs as he would go on to hit his 8th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Franchi Cordero, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. Their catcher in this matchup, Christian Vasquez, went 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run as he hit his 2nd home run of the season. Their right fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 20-22. That is the 4th best record in the American League East as they've now won their last 6 games. They are tied with the Minnesota Twins for the longest active winning streak in the American League. The Red Sox have won 8 of their last 10. They are now sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 21-21. That is the 2nd best record in the AL Central as they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are now sitting 5.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Anaheim, the Angels hosted the Rangers. The Angels would go on to beat the Rangers 5-3 after they scored 4 runs in the 4th inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the Texas Rangers see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning allowed 5 earned runs off of 11 hits in 6.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 8 and walk 1. With this loss, he's now 1-3. In the Rangers batting lineup, their designated hitter, Mitch Garver, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 5th home run of the season. Their center fielder, Adolis Garcia, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their catcher, Jonah Heim, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Angels saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Noah Syndergaard. He allowed 1 earned run off of 4 hits in the 8 innings he pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, he's now 4-2. The save went to Raisel Iglesias as he allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit as he finished off the 9th. He would go on to record a strikeout for his final out, and he picked up his 11th save of the season. In the Angels batting lineup, their goated center fielder Mike Trout went 2 for 4. Their first baseman Jared Walsh went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 9th home run of the season. Their third baseman Matt Duffy went 2 for 4 with a run. Their left fielder, Brandon Marsh, would end up going 3 for 4 with a run. And then their catcher, Max Stassi, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are 27-17. That is the 2nd best record in the AL West as they've now won their last 3 games. Only the Twins and the Red Sox have longer winning streaks in the American League. The Angels have won 5 of their last 10 games, and they now sit a game behind the division-leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are 18-23. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've now lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are now sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros at this moment. Taking a look at what's going on with the, looking back at the Rangers, like I said, they set 8.5 games behind the Rangers at this point. Taking a look at what happened in Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the Kansas City Royals. The Diamondbacks would beat the Royals 8-6. After the score was tied at 3, the Royals took a 6-3 lead. The Diamondbacks would score 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th to take the lead and eventually go back. They would tie the game off of a 3-run home run from Jordan Luplow, and then, of course, take the lead off of a 2-run home run from Pavin Smith to run away with their 23rd win of the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Kansas City Royals saw the start go to Jonathan Heasley. Heasley would allow 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5 batters and walked 6. The loss would end up going to the Royals setup relief pitcher Taylor Clark. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits as he finished the 6th inning. He would strike out a batter, and he would pick up his second blown save of the year. And with his loss, he's now 1-1. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite second baseman Whit Merrifield went 2 for 4 with a run. Their catcher in this particular matchup, MJ Melendez, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Melendez hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Arizona Diamondbacks were led out by Zach Gallen. Gallen allowed 6 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. The win went to the Diamondbacks' second relief pitcher, Noe Ramirez. He would allow no earned runs as he pitched an entire inning. He pitched the entire 7th. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. With his win, he's now 1-1. The save would end up going to the Diamondbacks closer, Mark Melancon, as he allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. He picked up his 10th save of the year. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their catcher Dalton Varsho went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 8th home run of the season. Their second baseman Ketel Marte went 2 for 4. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 23-22. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, and they've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They are now sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 14-28. They are tied with the Detroit Tigers for the worst record in the AL Central and the worst record in the American League. They have now lost their last 6 games. Their 6-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the MLB right now. The Royals have now lost 8 of their last 10. They are sitting 12.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Seattle, the Mariners hosted the Athletics, and the Athletics would beat the Mariners 7-5. The A's would win it after the Mariners took a 5-4 lead in the bottom of the 5th. The A's would tie it up with an Elvis Andrus home run at the top of the 6th, and then an Elvis Andrus RBI single on the top of the 7th. Like I said, they would go on to win it by 2, 7-5. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners were led out by George Kirby. Kirby allowed 4 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 9 batters, and the loss would go to the Seattle Mariners' second relief pitcher, Anthony Misowicz. Misowicz would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he pitched an entire inning. He would walk 2 batters, and with this loss, he's 0-1. In the Mariners batting lineup, their left fielder Jesse Winker went 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their shortstop J.P. Crawford went 2 for 4. Their designated hitter in this matchup, Kyle Lewis, ended up going 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, James Caprillion ended up allowing 5 earned runs off of 7 hits in the first 5 innings of the game. He struck out 3 batters and would walk 1. The win would go to the Athletics first relief pitcher Sam Moll. Moll allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 1.1 innings he pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Moll is 2-0. The save for the Athletics would go to Danny Jimenez. Their closer would allow no earned runs in the 9th as he struck out 2 and walked 1. He picked up his 9th save of the season. In the A's batting lineup, their second baseman Tony Kemp went 3 for 4 with 3 runs. Their designated hitter Jed Lowry would end up going 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their shortstop Elvis Andrus went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their shortstop in this matchup, Luis Barrera, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Athletics are now 18-27. That is the worst record in the AL West. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading Astros. With this loss, the Mariners are now 18-26. That is the 4th best record in the AL West, as they have now lost 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 10 games behind the division-leading Astros. Taking a look at what happened in the National League West, the Padres hosted the Brewers. The Brewers would end up beating the Padres 4-1 after the Padres scored the first run of the game. The Brewers would tie it off of a Mike Brasso home run at the top of the 5th, and they would take a 3-run lead off of a Tyrone Taylor 3-run home run at the top of the 6th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown San Diego Padres saw the loss go to their elite starting pitcher Blake Snell. Snell allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 7 batters and walked 2. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Padres batting lineup, their first baseman Eric Hosmer went 2 for 3. Their elite third baseman Manny Machado went 2 for 4. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers saw the win go to the former National League Cy Young winner Corbin Burnes. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. With this win, Corbin Burnes is 2-2. The save would go to the Brewers' elite closer for the day, Devin Williams, as he allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning. He would strike out 2 batters as he picked up his 3rd save of the season. In the Brewers' batting lineup, their third baseman, Mike Brasso, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the season. With this win, the Brewers are now 27-16. That is the best record in the NL Central. They are now sitting 3 games ahead of the Cardinals as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Padres are now 28-15. They are now holding the second best record in the NL West as they sit a game and a half behind the LA Dodgers. They've only lost 3 of their last 10 at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in the Bay, the San Francisco Giants hosted the NL East leading New York Mets. The Giants would end up beating the Mets 13-12 in the final inning after the Mets took a 12-11 lead off of a sac fly from Brandon Nimmo. In the bottom of the 9th, the Giants would tie it up with a RBI single from Jock Peterson. They would win it off of an RBI single from Brandon Crawford. On the losing end first of this matchup, the New York Mets would see the start go to Chris Bassett. Bassett allowed 8 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched as he struck out 4 batters and walked 3. The loss would go to the Mets closer Edwin Diaz. Diaz allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits as he would not make it through the 9th. He would strike out a batter. Or he would walk a batter. He did not strike out a batter. He would pick up his 3rd blowed save of the year, and with this loss, Edwin Diaz is 1-1. In the Mets batting lineup, their right fielder Starling Marte went 3 for 6 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their elite shortstop Francisco Lindor went 2 for 4 with 6 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 7th home run of the season and his first triple of the year. Their second baseman Jeff McNeil went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. Their third baseman Eduardo Escobar went 4 for 5 with a run. Their left fielder Mark Canha went 2 for 5 with a RBI. Their designated hitter Dominic Smith went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants saw the start go to Logan Webb. Webb allowed 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 1. The win for the Giants would end up going to their closer, John Brebbia. Brebbia would allow 1 earned run off of 1 hit in the 9th. He would pick up his 2nd win, and with this win, he's now 2-0. In the Giants batting lineup, their designated hitter, Tommy La Stella, went 2 for 6 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. In addition to, he would go on to hit his 2nd home run of the season. Their center fielder, Mike Yastrzemski, went 2 for 3 with 3 runs. Their first baseman, Darren Ruff, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their left fielder, former World Series champ with the Dodgers and the Braves, Jock Peterson, went 4 for 6 with 8 RBIs and 3 runs. He had his 8th, 9th, and 10th home runs of the seasons yesterday. Their shortstop, Brandon Crawford, went 2 for 6 with an RBI. Their second baseman, Thairo Estrada, went 2 for 4. Their right fielder, Luis Gonzalez, went 3 for 5 with a run. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are 23-19. That is the 3rd best record in the NL West as they've won 3 of their last 10. They are now sitting 6 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. With this loss, the New York Mets are now 29-16. That is the best record in the NL East. They are now sitting 8 games ahead of the Braves and the Phillies as they have now only lost 4 of their last 10. Right now, the Mets are holding on to the 3rd best record in the National League behind the Dodgers and the Padres. And right now, that kind of leads us into where we are with this MLB season. Taking a look at the first game starting at 12:35 in PNC Park, the Pittsburgh Pirates are set to host the Colorado Rockies. At 1:10, the Minnesota Twins are set to host the Detroit Tigers on Target Field. At 3:45, the San Francisco Giants are going to host the NL East leading New York Mets in Oracle Park. At 4:05, the Washington Nationals are set to host the LA Dodgers in National Park. The Dodgers are going to be led out by Julio Urias. He enters his matchup with a 3-3 record, holding a 2.63 ERA. At 4:10 in Petco Park, the San Diego Padres, led by their elite starting pitcher Yu Darvish, are set to host the Milwaukee Brewers. Yu Darvish enters his matchup with a 4-1 record, holding a 3.91 ERA. At 4:10 in T-Mobile Park, the reigning American League Cy Young winner Robbie Ray is going to host the Oakland Athletics as Robbie Ray enters his matchup with a 4-4 record, holding a 4.77 ERA. At 6:40 in Great American Ballpark, the Cincinnati Reds are set to host the Chicago Cubs. At the same time, Drew Rasmussen and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host the Miami Marlins as Rasmussen enters his matchup with a 4-1 record, holding a 2.33 ERA. At 7:05, the New York Yankees, the team holding the best record in baseball, are set to host the Baltimore Orioles in Yankee Stadium. At 7:20 in Truist Park, the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are set to host the Philadelphia Phillies. At 8:10 in Guaranteed Rate Field, the Chicago White Sox are set to host the Boston Red Sox. At the same time, in Minute Maid Park, the Houston Astros are set to host the Cleveland Guardians. At 9:38 in Angel Stadium, the Los Angeles Angels are going to host the Texas Rangers. And that is currently what we have going on in the MLB. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer, there's no big matchups today, as the big matchup Champions League final is set for Saturday. That is all I have for you for today, Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. I want to thank the ESPN, NHL, MLB, and FIFA sites for giving me all the facts and figures I need. And I do apologize for the names that I butchered. But of course, thanks for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more after this. Peace out.